Welcome to Season 2 of the Craft Beer Connoisseurs Podcast. I'm Brett. If you're new to the podcast, we are three friends and a producer who like to showcase craft breweries and their beers. Also, we like to end every episode with a short conversation on a variety of different topics. If you're not new to the podcast, well, welcome back. We will keep things similar to Season 1. After all, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Whether you're new or returning, please feel free to listen to all of our Season 1 content. And remember to follow us on Instagram at Craft Beer Cons, send a friend request on Untapped, or subscribe on YouTube at Craft Beer Connoisseurs. Also, drop a comment, like, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Now, for today's episode. Welcome to Craft Beer Connoisseurs. I'm Brett.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Tyler. And along with us today is producer Pierce.
Welcome, Pierce.
Hey, Pierce.
And also, it's good to be back with you guys, eh?
It is good to be back.
Season 2. Who could have thought?
We made it to Season 2.
We're here. Whoop, whoop. We made it.
Absolutely. So in today's episode, we are going to be reviewing Town Brewery out of Whitby, Ontario.
Nice. And much like Season 1, we're going to be trying two beers today. The first one is Outside Jokes, not the inside ones, the outside ones. And that is a New England Pale Ale. And the second one we're going to be looking at is called Link It Up, which is a New England IPA.
Nice. And then to finish up the episode, we're going to talk about our personal involvement when it comes to communities and not-for-profit organizations.
Town Brewery is located at 1632 Charles Street in Whitby, just a couple blocks away from the Port Whitby Marina.
Never been?
I have also not been.
Never been either.
To the brewery or the marina. So Town was founded in 2017 by Jeff Tamley along with brewmaster Tim Furman with a simple goal in mind, to make better beer and build a stronger community.
Yeah, so on the outside of the building, which we've seen with a lot of previous breweries that we've taken a look at, it's kind of like an old warehouse, and they've obviously turned that into a brewery. It's actually a 5,000 square foot facility, so really good size.
Yeah.
With a modern taproom look, lots of bricks and lights to make it, very welcoming space.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Town prides themselves on modern pale ales and IPAs, which we're going to be kind of seeing today.
Both of them, yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that they won't stop, them from kind of like working outside the box. So we'll see what they kind of have in store. I'm sure we'll talk about some of their other beers as we kind of go through it. So
I think so.
Why don't we talk about the brewery a little bit here?
Yes, so the beers from Town are to represent the passion for quality, the desire to be creative, along with the openness to experiment with different brewing methods and ingredients to make it an unforgettable experience, and hopefully in a good way.
Yeah. That's
I would
true.
definitely hope it would be in a good way, yeah.
Now, we kind of did mention, like, nobody's been before.
No, I have not been.
Right.
No.
Producer Pierce is emphatically going with the
big shake of the head.
left, right on that one, yeah.
Yes. So Town likes to partner with like-minded charities, bands, and environmental causes. And we'll get more into that with our second beer today for what it's connected to for the community brews. And also, they actually just had a community cleanup of the Whitby shores on August 14th because they are part of the Great Canadian Shoreline Group Clean Initiative that supports the World Wildlife Foundation and Oceanwise.
Nice.
Fun fact, there's actually been 2 million kilograms of trash collected since 1994 across Canada's shorelines. It's a lot of trash.
That's crazy, actually. And that's good that they're close to the marina, because then they're close to the shoreline.
The good thing was anybody who participated got a free pint card. So they got a good way to cool off after supporting a great cause. That's 100% true.
I mean, that's definitely a good way to get people to support your cause, right? Is like
clean up the environment and have a beer.
And then come have a beer with us, yeah.
I'm in.
I would be in for that also.
If I lived closer, I'd be in.
Right.
100%.
It's a long way to go for a free pint. And we have shorelines closer to us that we could, clean up if we wanted to do that, I think. They're also part of the Coastal Waters organization. So they kind of donate $1 to the David Suzuki Foundation. I presume that's kind of per beer sold.
Right.
Yes, so that was an IPA that they had done as well, for sure.
Okay, yeah.
And actually, the first beer I ever had from Town was called Pop, and it was partnering with the band Scorpion Hill and Sistering, which is an organization working on the behalf of women in need in the Toronto area. And it had a great fuzzy peach passion fruit flavor. It was my introduction to Town, and let me tell you, it was a really good intro.
Was that a sour then?
No, it was an IPA.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the fuzzy peach kind of flavor.
The only bad thing, I guess, about them doing these kind of one-offs with, charity focus is that you probably won't ever be able to get the beer again.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Which is, if you really like it, you better stock up.
Exactly, yeah. So we've kind of talked a little bit about some of their beers, and some of the beers that they currently have listed right now include Square Wheels, which is an IPA, pineapple, grapefruit, kind of tasty notes on that one. Astro Ever After. Astro After Ever. Oh my goodness.
English, man. English.
Juicy IPA with peaches and berries and flowers on the nose.
That one sounds good, eh?
Chill as frig. It's a light lager with lime zest and multi flavors of fresh bread. And then they also, of course, have a couple different seltzers there if you want to try something different.
Yes, they have dabbled into the seltzers as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, Chris just said gotta, but if you listen to our seltzers episode, you might not wanna.
I was partly being sarcastic.
And also, I will say that they also just had a new release a couple days ago, the Witzig, which is a nice Hefeweizen. And we all know our producer loves his Hefeweizen.
Yes, Pierce does
like
enjoy Hefeweizen.
I will say I really like the names of their beers. They're like Square Wheels. It's kind of like a funny name. Even Outside Jokes, like it just seems a little bit. It seems pretty clever, right?
Yeah,
totally agree.
Yeah, they do a good job with that. So, Brett, you've had a couple?
Yes. So as mentioned, I've had the Pup Scorpion Hill one. I also had the Den Full of Dads. So it was a collaboration with Third Moon because, it just made sense. I'm a dad, I had it actually in my den. Just made sense.
Was it
It was only full of one dad.
Den full of dad, yeah.
Yes, I should have had a community of dads.
Fife's a big guy, It's multiple dads.
You should have invited me over and it could have been a den full of dads.
It's true.
No.
And also, I've had Outside Jokes before. I had it last year, so... it's going to be different to see if there's been any little different nuances thrown into it.
Right.
And I do remember it being very, very good. So hopefully we will also enjoy it today.
I hope so too. Well, our producer Pierce also has had Den Full of Dads. Interesting fact, Pierce, not a dad.
Wannabe, though.
Wannabe
dad.
Wannabe
For
dad.
sure.
Eventually, it's coming.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Sooner or later.
And he actually just had Square Wheels last night.
It's almost like he was doing research for the episode.
Yeah.
Now, while we kind of go on, I'm going to ask producer Pierce to see what their rating is on Square Wheels, because that'd be kind of cool to see. So whatever Pierce has for that. On tap, there's 143 different beers that Town has produced, as well as seltzers. The overall rating of 3.89 with Den Full of Dads is actually the highest one at 436.
That is correct.
That was 570 ratings. So again, we kind of see that they're not like producing a whole lot, or at least they're not getting a lot of reviews necessarily on Untapped. So they're kind of one of these mid-range breweries. So be nice to see them kind of explode a little bit. With some help with this episode.
And breaking news, Pierce did look up his rating. It was a 4.
There you go.
That's for the Square Wheels.
Yes, for Square Wheels.
Yeah.
Yes,
Nice.
that's correct.
Cool.
Also, we would like to acknowledge the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Huron-Wendat First Nation, in which Town Brewery is actually operated on.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about deliveries. So they have a $10 flat rate throughout the province of Ontario, free over $30 in terms of local delivery. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't include us. That includes Durham Region and Toronto.
And we are not there.
We are
A little bit outside of that.
Just a bit outside. Now, you can also get 30-liter kegs shipped of these kinds of beers. Outside Jokes, Square Wheels, and Chill as Frig. So if you do have a kegerator or want a kegerator, get a kegerator and then get the beer to take advantage of these beers while you're at home.
Yeah,
Maybe.
or talk to your favorite craft beer bar. Maybe they'll get that in.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true, actually.
Good call. Yep.
So, hours at the brewery. Monday, 12 to 8. Okay, might be able to make it. Who knows? Tuesday to Saturday, 12 to 10. And then Sunday, 12 to 6. So, obviously, if you are in the area, I can't think of anything better to do than to go to Town Brewery
Yeah.
and have some beers.
Also
Subtle
pretty
plug.
cool. Open every day, which a lot of breweries are not open every day.
That's right.
You know what, Chris? Good job.
Thank you. I put that all together. All right. Well, we're going to link their information on our social media. So if you guys want to check them out, just click on that.
Check them out. Check us out. Totally get it. But anyway, let's get on to our first beer.
All right. So first off, a big thank you to Travis from Town for supplying the beers on today's episode.
Thanks, Travis.
So thank you for starting off season
Much
2.
appreciated.
So the first beer that we're going to have, as we mentioned, is called Outside Jokes, which is a New England Pale Ale, and it has a 5.0 ABV and unlisted IBUs.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. All right. So this beer is a hazy and juicy pale ale featuring sultana and citra hops with flavors of orange peel, pineapple juice, and a slight floral note. So we'll see if we get all that while we smell it and taste it.
So the aromas are going to be hitting you with pineapple.
I hope
Makes
so.
sense, because pineapple juice, pineapple. And mishmash of citrus fruits, including the tangerine and mandarin oranges, and almost a slight lemon vibe. Or, as we've seen before on an untapped handle, lemony.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very true.
Lemony.
All right, so on Untapped, you can follow us at Craft Beer Connoisseurs, of course, and the overall rating for Outside Jokes is 3.88 bottle caps out of 5,
Yeah.
which is good rating. Total of about 2,600 check-ins, which is good for kind of their flagship beer.
Right.
Interesting, kind of coinciding with our second season release, Untapped has just updated their app, and we can kind of dive in a little bit more in terms of, based on serving style, what the ratings are. Brett, why don't you tell everyone what the serving style rating for can is?
Yes. So actually, out of the 2,600 check-ins, 2,320 have been in a can, and the rating's actually a little higher than the overall. So it's actually 3.92 out of 5. Just FYI.
Thank you for that. That's great.
You like the pitch up there? That's my...
Yeah.
It's funny because all the jokes for this podcast here were actually told inside, not outside.
Yes, that's true. All right, let's add 4 more ratings to that serving style. Let's go with our can in one hand and our glass in the other one. It's been a while since we've done this, but...
Might be a little rusty.
Let's open her up. Oh, yeah. Fife, what do you think about that?
Good.
Don't you love that sound?
I was just trying to make sure my beer wasn't going to spill. It was almost going to fall out of my hand. I was saving the beer, boys.
Good call. So we are drinking this pale ale out of a pint glass. So not a nonic pint, just a regular pint. So make sure to use your proper glassware.
All right. So let's start sniffing this one up here. Nice to see a little bit of that head retention. Nice kind of carbonation in the bubbles on it. And this looks like almost like that Five Alive kind of look with the pale ale. So hopefully it has some of those citrusy notes.
This looks like a prototypical summer beer that I'm going to want to crush.
Absolutely. And it's nice and hazy, which I like, obviously, from a New England pale ale. And yeah, lots of head. Really kind of fluffy, nice head.
Are we getting that pineapple juice off the nose there?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'm getting that right up front, which is really nice. And producer Pierce says, we should probably mention that it does kind of have an IPA kind of look to it.
Yes, it does.
The smell is very much a pale ale.
Yeah, Brett, you had mentioned that they said there's a mishmash of citrus fruits.
Mishmash.
I definitely feel like there's a mishmash. I just like saying that.
Yeah,
It's a fun word, isn't it?
but I'm telling you, like it's almost reminiscent of that Five Alive.
Right, because I can't really pick anything out distinctly. It just smells citrusy.
It's just there.
Okay, now that we've talked enough about the smell, can we taste it already, or...
Yeah, let's taste it. I just had a little
Let's
bit
do it.
extra here. I had to wait for my head to go down
Me too.
to put
All
that
right.
in there.
I'm going to take a swig now.
All right, take a swig with your mishmash.
That's like a mishmash of fruit in your mouth. No,
That's smooth.
that goes down well. I remember this is exactly like what I had last year. No complaints here.
Yeah.
That's
Prototypical
right.
summer beer.
Yeah, because you mentioned that you had this before.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm getting all that citrus come through in the back end,
Oh, totally.
which is really nice because it's refreshing right up front. It's smooth as you've mentioned, and then again, it just I don't know, like the pineapple, any of the other citrus, whether it's a kind of like an orange tangerine kind of flavor with it as well.
Yeah, I think it mentioned when we talked about what the brewery said we should expect. It mentioned orange peel, and I'm getting that a little bit on the end. Not when you bite into an orange peel, it doesn't really taste good. So it's not doesn't taste like that, but
Right.
it's just like a slight hint of orange peel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never really bitten into the peel of an orange before. So
Never?
No, you
no.
don't bite into it to start the peel.
No, I do not.
Wow. All right. No, it's nice. Again, it's smooth. I feel like this is a very summer kind of beer.
Totally.
I probably could have 4 or 5 of these in a heartbeat.
Oh, I could sit on my deck and crush this all day and tell a bunch of outside jokes.
We got to look into what the heck an outside joke is, you know?
I believe it's actually a joke that is told outside.
Oh, gosh.
We
got a den full of dads here. And
I don't know if we want to get too off topic, but I think it's the opposite of an inside joke.
oh, okay.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
All right, why don't we talk about the top 5 flavor profiles? So much like season 1. I'm going to go through these, and you guys are going to respond to each one, letting me know if it coincides with what we're drinking or not. So number 1, citrusy.
Yeah, that's definitely number one for me.
Yeah,
Yes.
Producer Pierce with a thumbs up. Number 2, light.
I don't think this drink's as light as what it's kind of promoting in terms of number 2 on here. It's still light enough, but my opinion is it is a little bit heavy, but at the same time, still highly, highly touched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it drinks light. I think so.
I'd say it's light in terms of what you might expect versus a pale ale.
Yeah.
Generally.
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense to me. Maybe not number 2. Right?
Sure. Number 3, smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
we're
would
all-
probably put smooth at number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Number 4, grapefruity.
I guess. I mean, it is in the sense that it's citrusy. If someone can pull grapefruit out among the other citrus, then good for them. But I would say it's just citrusy in general.
I think, I would kind of put the pineapple grapefruit kind of coinciding, which would come up with citrusy. But it's there. Like pineapple, grapefruit, he's all 4A, 4B for me.
Yeah, I would have probably put pineapple up front there and maybe move grapefruity down. And then we also see that kind of orange peel thing. So number 5 is dry.
No. I do not agree with this one.
Yeah, I don't think it's dry. Producer Pierce very confused with dry.
Yeah, fair enough. And again, this is where you could have moved pineapple into the 4 spot, orange peel into the 5, vice versa. Zesty would have been a good one as well. That would have
I
been
forgot
would have been an
about
option.
zesty in terms of a
Yeah.
flavor profile.
Right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Now would have been the time for it. So
Would have been, for sure. But speaking of Untapped, there's a couple user thoughts. As always, what we do is we usually have 2 Untapped user thoughts on every beer. Tyler, you have the first one.
I do. So the first one is Andrew W. Handle is very local specific. Andrew W. _ Guelph -on. So
I think he might live in Guelph.
we now know where Andrew at least resides. So thanks, Andrew, for giving us the information. On August 24th, stated the following: light color, mild flavors, and a quick, clean getaway. Doesn't linger on the palate. Andrew rated it a 4 to 5. Yeah, that's a pretty good review, I think.
I think
that's pretty good.
I cannot disagree with that.
I'm getting the whole doesn't linger on the palate, like it's there, and all of a sudden it disappears.
And I think that's why I would almost maybe put crushable up there too, right? Because
Totally.
it doesn't linger. Like it's nice, it's refreshing, it gets in and it gets out. So
It's the odd time when you have that beer that just lingers there a little too much.
Yeah.
It does bring down your rating. Where this one
for sure.
lingers for enough time, and then it's gone, and it makes you want to have another sip.
Exactly. It keeps you coming back for more.
yeah.
So I'll be sad when it's gone. So the next one comes from Sean M. Handle is Killer Duck, we'll go with. Interesting spelling. So on August 1st said, great hoppy aroma with a light bitter finish. Smooth and creamy with tropical and dank bites in the finish.
Ooh, dank bites.
Yeah, not sure what a dank bite is, but Sean gave it a 4.25 out of 5.
Well, you do notice that a lot of times New England sometimes have that dank flavor profile in it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
People like that dank juice bomb, if you will.
Right. And so another thing kind of add to this is producer Pierce did say, we could have probably added that tropical flavor profile as well. And so that coincides with what Sean is saying. So
Yeah.
I get that. All right, boys. Season 2.
It's rating time.
Episode 1.
First rating of the season.
So I'm going to start our ratings off. I'm going to give it a 4.25. A 4.25 for myself.
Very nice. I am also going to be at a 4.25, actually.
No way.
Yeah.
Copycat.
I know.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. Hey, just keep copycatting each other. For me, I'm going to stay with the same rating I had earlier in the year with this. I'm going to give it a 4.5. Producer Pierce coming on in with a rating of a 4.
Yeah.
Which means...
Yeah, so that's going to give us a overall score of a 4.25. Not too bad for the first beer
Of course, what
of
happens?
season.
It ends up being you guys, you guys 4.25. Average piece 4.25.
Hey,
blah blah blah.
It's just math.
Yeah.
Can't argue with math.
It's
Damn
true.
math.
All right. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to continue to drive around town in order to get beer number 2. All right, so the second beer we're having today is called Link Up, which is an IPA, and it has 6.0 ABV, and again, IBUs are unlisted.
Nice.
This beer is brewed in support of and in partnership with linkupbeer.org. This IPA drinks like a fluffy cloud. Bold, beautiful, and bright.
Yeah.
Featuring Citra, Mosaic, and Vic Secret hops. And just so you know, so the Everlasting Love that Chris rated a 5 last year from Counterpoint.
Also our number one beer of season one, yes.
Had Citra, Mosaic, and Vic Secret.
So you're saying this is probably going to be a good beer?
It should be, yes.
Yeah.
So this beer, Link Up, explodes with pronounced flavors of pineapple, passion fruit, orange zest, and pine.
Nice. So Link Up, just so everybody knows, is an initiative led by Microbrasserie 5e Baron and BAOS Podcast. Okay? So,
Good French, by the way.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we know what BAOS is?
Beer and other bleep.
Other shit. Yeah. So you can give them a follow as well. I believe that they're on Instagram as well. Now, their vision is to ensure the future of the brewing industry becomes a more diverse, inclusive space. So we're all, kind of behind that as well.
Absolutely.
Link Up is going to be providing training, work experience, financial resources, and then hands-on work experiences for the biopic applicants as well. So a really good initiative. We've talked about these sort of initiatives with other breweries as well. This is just another fine example of a brewery stepping up for Link Up and creating this beer. So hopefully we get a good beer, and we know it's a good cause.
Well, I think we are going to get a good beer because I'll tell you what, on Untappd, there's 124 check-ins to this beer with an average rating of 4.15 bottle caps out of 5. And we mentioned in our first beer a little update to Untappd. So from the can, because we're drinking the can for this beer, there's been 85 check-ins, and it's 4.17 bottle caps out of 5. So
A little extra.
A little better than the average.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, without any more words being said, let's open her up. Let's see if...
I know I haven't said this, but God.
Let's see if Brett can not try and spell.
Only took the second beer of the second season.
It's because we haven't done this in a while, okay?
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Well, we are drinking this IPA, this Link Up, out of an IPA glass. So remember to use your proper glassware and pour properly, because I didn't.
So it is tough when we're trying to do the recording as well. And the IPA glass arguably is probably the toughest glass to probably pour into because it's got one of the smaller mouth openings.
Especially with a very, very fluffy head, and as it was mentioned, like a fluffy cloud,
Yeah,
right?
it's very easy to agitate the beer in the can when you're pouring it, which obviously creates that head. So you just got to be slow, but...
Yeah, and
My
we're trying
rating of Chris's pour, 1.25.
we're trying to get
at
the
least
pour
it's not
in.
0.
Yeah, try to get that pour in, and sometimes it comes out fast, right? Because
Well, at
we're
least
just
you
trying
hit
to
the
get
glass.
going. Yeah,
Yeah.
Baby steps.
Better than other times.
baby steps. So what do we see here, fellas? What do we smell here? Anything? We've already talked about the fluffy head. It does kind of hang around, and we'll probably see as we go through this. There's probably going to be a defined lacing on the glass, just based on what kind of IPA this is, and being a fluffy kind of head.
I agree, yeah.
So we'll probably see that as we drink through it for sure. Producer Pierce is seeing it already because his has settled a little bit more. So he hasn't drank any, thank goodness. But it is starting to do a little bit of lacing.
Yet.
Yes.
You know what? It actually has a very similar smell to the first beer we had.
I was gonna
the
say,
Outside Jokes. Yeah.
And same kind of in appearance too. We talked about this.
Definitely.
It's got that haziness, kind of pale look to it. Yeah.
Again, the look of it just screams outdoors, 30-degree weather.
Yes.
Just did some yard work. Need a refresher. This is perfect.
Yeah. If you're looking for a good beer, you might have a good beer. You know?
It's true.
Just saying.
It's true. Tyler's over there like the Dairy Queen server saying, if you flip it upside down, it's still going to go for you.
Yeah.
I'm just
That head will hold it in there
just
for you.
checking that head retention on it. And it's good. All right.
It definitely smells tropical and citrusy and everything like that. So hopefully we get that when we taste it.
All right. Let's slam our tongues into it and have a sip.
Okay. I'm hoping this is going to be a mishmash of fruit in this.
Mm-hmm. Not bad.
That'll do. That'll do.
It is very reminiscent of almost that pale ale but just kind of on the IPA side of things, right?
Yeah, a little bit more hoppy,
Yep.
like a tiny bit more bitter, which
bit
you
more
would
bitter.
expect, of
A little
course.
bit more alcohol by volume.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, definitely citrusy as well. Definitely, like I said, I smelt the tropical, definitely tasting tropical, like you said, Brett. Sitting outside on the deck or something like that, this would be awesome.
This would definitely be one I could crush.
I get
like the first one, just more.
For sure. I get more of a grapefruit from this, and that might be just because it is the IPA. I feel like I'm getting more of a grapefruity kind of flavor with this one than I did with the other one. A little less, you're not getting the pineapple, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah, no pineapple. Definitely grapefruit, I would say, on the back end.
Yeah.
The first part of the sip kind of hits me with the bitterness and the
Yep,
hoppiness,
yep.
and then the back end, that's where you get the fruit and the grapefruity coming in.
Absolutely
I
concur.
almost think this beer is almost like soft, right? It just goes down so softly, so smoothly, like no complaints going down the esophagus, right? Just like you take a sip and it's like,
The old esophagus. Didn't have that on my bingo card.
That's a big word for Brett.
Yeah, it is a big
is it
one.
like 9 letters, 10 letters?
We're not going to have them count them.
No.
All right. Who wants to take control of the top 5 flavor profiles?
Yeah,
Chris?
I'll grab a hold of that. So first one coming in is tropical.
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
was tropical the first one in the
Citrusy
no,
was.
Citrusy was.
Yeah,
okay.
tropical wasn't in there.
Wasn't there. We
had
said-
the discussion
okay.
that,
Yeah.
that
We
producer
wanted,
Pierce
we
said
wanted to
might
put
add
it in. Pierce wanted to put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pierce was
Just
very
did not have the
adamant
power
about
to do so.
Yeah. All right, tropical. I'd say yes. I'm getting tropical.
Yeah, for sure.
Second is citrusy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it like I said, I'm getting the grapefruit at the end, so that's the citrusy
citrus part of it?
I
Yep,
would
for
say,
sure.
Yeah. I'd say it's less citrusy than Outside Jokes, personally.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I think maybe that's the pineapple juice being
Yeah.
taken out too, right?
Number 3, hoppy.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not overly hoppy, and I think that's
No.
something we should mention as well. Is for an IPA, is it doesn't come across as super hoppy. If you were getting into craft beers and you wanted to try an IPA, say you had the pale ale and you like that, this would be maybe a little slight progression
Yes.
up to an IPA, but it's not going to be like that, like total hoppiness forward, bitterness kind of just linger in your mouth. And then kind of turn you off, maybe some craft beers. This is very nice, especially if we're looking at introduction.
And I also think that
IPAs.
that combo of the Mosaic, Citra, and Vic Secret always comes off like, yes, okay, it's hoppy, but it doesn't taste hoppy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like just, again, I'm going to stick with the word smooth. Like it just,
Yeah.
it's nice.
Yeah.
I like this one.
Yeah, you get a good flavor profile from the hops instead of that bitterness or
just
hoppiness.
Pure bitterness.
Yeah, I would agree.
Number 4 is light. I don't know that I
And
necessarily
again, I'm
think
pretty
this is
sure
light.
that producer Pierce pointed this in the first one. I don't know if he actually talked about it, but I think it's more so light in color, not exactly in the flavor itself.
I think for an IPA, it's light, and I think that it's attributed again to the maltiness or the hoppiness or the bitterness of it, because you can slam this. Like I feel like as an IPA, that because it is smooth and what it is that this is a lighter kind of IPA beer, not in alcohol content, but in just the way that it can be drank.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense then.
And it's different because it says top 5 flavor profiles, and we just highlighted light as like the color, and not an actual flavor, right? But
Right. And we've done that before with flavors before.
For sure.
I really think it should just be like not top 5 flavor profiles. It should be top 5 beer profiles.
Like
top
characteristics.
5
Yeah,
descriptive
characteristics,
words
yeah.
of this beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they'll come out in another update from Untapped.
Maybe next year right in time for season 3.
2022.
Untapped. If you go look at that, can we go
Yeah.
flavors and change it out to characteristics? Thank you.
Perfect.
All right.
There we go. We'll make that change. Last one, number 5, grapefruity, which I agree with, but I would move it up, I would say.
Yeah, I'd move it up as well.
Yeah. Other suggestions from producer Pierce: smooth, dank, bitter, mouthfeel, pine.
There's that dank again, coming right back in, eh?
I do like the mouthfeel one on this one as well because there is a difference, again, with the pale ale, and I do get a bit of a mouthfeel on this one.
Yeah, it's not as much as of a mouthfeel as you might get with a like a lactose beer, for example, like
milkshake
a milkshake
IPA or something, yeah.
But definitely, there's more mouthfeel for sure. And it's interesting having just had the Outside Jokes, right? Because they're very similar, but we can kind of pick out differences. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
They're similar, but they have their different nuances that makes it its own independent beer.
And
right?
I think we got to kind of, again, go back and say, hey, thanks to Town for this, because
Yeah.
they kind of select the beers that we get, right? We offer up suggestions sometimes, but they kind of pair this nicely with the pale ale and then this one. So great job. Like, whoever picked these two, good job. All right.
So the one thing, also speaking of good jobs, when Travis sent us the beers, he literally sent us an email saying, Link Up was literally canned today
Yeah.
and sent it out. I don't know about you, but that sure as hell is service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good service. right
Freshness matters.
Yes.
It does
And they
matter.
there.
understand
and that's
that.
the one thing we haven't touched on. This beer, fresh.
Especially in an IPA, right?
Oh, yeah,
like
100%.
that's going to make a big difference. Speaking of maybe the cans, do you want to talk about the can, Brett? I know the Town.
Yeah, let's do that for the first time
Yes,
in season
yes.
2.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the Town Brewery cans are pretty similar, right? It's a lot of, paintings and different nuances of that. I feel as though I've said nuances twice in 3 minutes. It's like a new word for
Another
me.
big word, Brett. Yeah.
Nuances and esophagus. Those who are
Yes.
playing at home, nuance and esophagus.
It's called a thesaurus.
Another big word.
Check out the next producer special because we're going to be talking about how we spent our time away from the podcast. Brett picked up a thesaurus. Go ahead.
Like one of those mini ones that you pick up at Chapters for like $5 just to kind of like
The pocket thesaurus. thesaurus.
Have you heard of the internet? Thesaurus.com.
Go ahead, Brett.
what's the internet? I don't know what that is.
Well, you'll find out.
Oh, apparently. Anyway, so Town has pretty much used like a lot of paintings and whatnot for most of their canning art. Again, very attractive. Like you're gonna definitely notice it if you're in the LCBO. Outside jokes and square wheels are both available in certain LCBOs. FYI, so it'll definitely stand out when you are looking for new beers to try.
Yeah, I just like the simplicity of it, right?
Very nice. All right, so let's see if we get some simple kind of untapped user reviews on this. If not, they might be complex. We'll see. Let's start with you, Chris. You got
All
the
right.
first one.
First one comes from Algon S. Handle is Algon Smosley. All right. On August 24th said, bright and soft, passion fruit, pineapple, citrus. Nice blend of Citra Mosaic and Vic Secret. Easy and refreshing finish, summer in a can. And Algon gave it a 4 out of 5.
I can't agree more with him. Summer in a can.
Yeah.
Very much correct.
You know what? I didn't think of it beforehand, but now that I see passion fruit, yeah,
true.
I'm getting the passion fruit out of this.
It's true.
All right,
So the
Brett.
second review that I have is from Tim D, and his username is Tim Dick. On August 15th, stated, big fruit scent, grapefruit is predominant, makes for a slightly tart start. Hints of orange too, nicely balances with a slight hot bite at the finish. 4 out of 5.
Yeah,
Nice.
Nobody has any
a
complaints about
slightly
that?
tart start.
Yeah, I don't get tart at the
I'm not
start.
getting the tart
Yeah,
start.
that's where I was
Yeah.
kind of
It's
struggling with
interesting,
a bit,
but-
all right, fair enough. Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
sure.
Chris, you're entitled to yours too.
I am. Thank you very much. So, speaking of ratings, I am going to give this one, I'm going to stick with the same rating I had on the first beer, 4.25 out of 5.
Okay. I am also going to be paired with you there, but I won't be. I'm going to give it a 4.5. I'm going to pair it with myself in the first one.
All right. Well, that was difficult. So I'm going to go with a 4.25 myself, sticking with myself as well as my friend, my amigo, Chris. And producers also going to give it a 4.25. What's that give us as a team there, Chris?
That gives us a 4.3125, which we are going to round down to a 4.25.
Okay, 4.25 for both beers. Pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's going to conclude the review of Town and their beers.
All right. Coming up, we're going to be talking about our local and personal community involvement.
Well, Town has a big emphasis on community and building a bigger, stronger one. And it's a good chance to talk about what we do in terms of our personal involvement with within our own spectrums of communities and not-for-profit organizations. So, I want to pose the question to the boys.
Okay.
Are we part of any local, provincial organizations, federal organizations, committee members, on boards, etc.?
No.
Okay, Chris, thank you. Tyler.
Yeah, so I mean, currently I don't really sit on anything, just with work being a little bit, taking up a lot of time. It of itself is kind of a local organization, municipal government. So there's that. I kind of give back with my employment, I suppose. But I do kind of, with one of the producers previously, vice president of a local athletic association as well. So we kind of did a co-thing there.
Yes, you ran a golf tournament a couple times, didn't you?
Yeah, there was a little bit of that. And it was
Exactly.
basically just around one of the local ball diamonds. So it was not really a beautiful place. And it was gravel, actually, like stone dust.
I was just going to say, it's really good to have your outfield be grass and not gravel.
Yeah,
That would help. Yeah.
Some might say I did it for selfish reasons as a center fielder because it was stone dust from basically the backstop all the way to the outfield fences.
There's a lot of stone dust going on there.
So
100%.
complete remodeling of the ball diamond, so it does look a lot better, and it is grass. I did also help out with Sunshine Dreams for Kids as well. So I did a lot of volunteer work with them growing up as well. So there's a bit of a personal connection there, which maybe we'll get into another time. But helping out with that and doing a bunch of curling bond spiels and volunteering some time there.
So if you guys had Bonspiel on your bingo, that's a big word, apparently.
It's not.
Yeah, not as big as esophagus.
And I bet you can't spell both.
Bonspiel, probably have a better chance of spelling that.
It's true. What about you, Brett? What do you got?
So I'm a member of a couple different organizations. So I actually work for a not-for-profit. I'm not going to tell you exactly what I do for a living.
Do you want me to give the exact address?
No, I'm okay. Thank
Okay.
you. But anyway, so I work for a not-for-profit, and I'm a member of a couple of different organizations for supportive employment in terms of disabilities and everything like that. So yeah, it's been quite an experience in terms of doing a lot more virtual stuff, obviously, because, it's the time we're in right now.
Right.
Versus going to the conferences and everything like that, networking.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things that I'm actually looking to broaden my horizons. It's hopefully, time obviously is of the essence, and I don't have a lot of time between work and parenting and everything else. But I'm wanting to be on a board probably hopefully by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I've looked into like a couple places in Stratford in terms of I think the library and things like that. So I've put in applications for that because I feel as though, it's always good for professional development, always good to be on a board to know the different nuances of different things, right?
Yeah,
Again,
it's nice to give back. for sure.
Nuances.
Yeah.
Word of the day.
And that's the thing with me is like I'm kind of like you. I have a limited amount of time in terms of I'm working, I'm parenting, but it would be. I think one thing I would like to do is get on to the board of my daughter's daycare because that's such a big part of her life, and I think that if I can kind of take a kind of role in shaping that, then that's something that I would be really interested
You know what's funny?
in.
I'm actually on the board of my child's daycare.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, because my wife runs a home daycare. So.
Season 2, episode 1, we get a buy a wife, right?
First one of the season.
There it is.
So has anybody taken in terms of like professional development opportunities, right? So obviously there's different courses and things like that you can take through not-for-profit organizations, or maybe even going back to school to do a course here and there. Has anybody done that previously?
Yeah, Chris, do you want to start? You can say no.
To be honest, I don't do a ton of professional
I don't
development.
do the schooling. I'm done now.
So for my job, I do have a professional certification, so I do have to do kind of regular
The maintenance.
professional development to maintain
Yep,
that.
yep.
But I guess outside of that, in terms of you're talking about volunteering, community involvement, I don't necessarily have some sort of designation or sort of thing where I'm kind of maintaining that.
Right. Now, for myself, I continuing education
There you go, yep.
is important. And I've always, anybody that works for me, same sort of thing. I always try to make sure that there's money in the budget so that way you can continue to be educated. So for myself, I started municipal government probably about 8.5 years ago, and I've always...
It's been that long?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Always been doing something. So, I've done a lot of courses through AMCTO, which is the Association of Municipal Clerks and Treasurers of Ontario. And so I've done municipal administration programs, municipal law programs. Outside of that, I've done privacy and information through University of Guelph. In addition to, I just actually wrapped up a program evaluation program with Laurier University. And so I've always continued to do something. I've got professional designations as well. So my AMP designation, which is municipal professional, through one of the organizations, and then going to upgrade that to the highest one that you can possibly get, which is a certified municipal officer. So that's what I'm working on right now. I've also taken municipal law enforcement courses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just continuing to be educated because I don't have kids, and all I do is drink beer and be educated.
You wonder what they call that? Spare time.
Yeah.
What is that?
Get it in while you can, boys.
I know in terms of professional development, I've taken a couple courses previously. I've looked into doing the career practitioners through Conestoga. Debating on it. Also depends on kind of like how virtual, how in person it's going to be, depending on COVID and all that other stuff. Producer Pierce, he's done some things apparently. So he's actually obtained complete concussion management certification. So if you have a concussion, contact Pierce. So he also, he's coached a lot. There's a lot of webinars to his NCCP, which also I've completed. Level 1 is that. A lot of, CE courses. I've also done like mental health first aid, things like that.
So when you say NCCP, what do you mean by that?
The National Coaches something.
Certification program?
Yeah, certification program. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's what it means, but I wasn't 100% sure. It just threw me on the spot there.
I'm just a big fan of it when you mention an acronym, that you explain what the acronym is.
Oh, yes. I should have said that, yes.
Do you want to talk about volunteering time, and then we'll wrap this up?
So I've volunteered with the SAA before, which is kind of a local athletic association with me. So I've done,
So when you say SAA, what do you mean by that?
The Stephenville Athletic Association. Would you like to spell that out? Also, there's like a local, it's actually called the local, which is in Stratford. I volunteered there because I know a friend whose mother is the executive director there, so I volunteered there a little bit.
Because I know somebody, I volunteer.
I know people.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, I've done some serving for different events and things like that.
Yep.
When I was in high school and college, I organized multiple tournaments for like minor basketballs because I wanted to give back. I thought that was going to be my future. Turns out I did not become a teacher. So there is that part as well.
Esophagus.
All right, so I'll talk about some volunteering I've done. So I'll be honest, it's not necessarily a lot.
Well, you said no at the hop.
Yeah, you did.
When I was in university, we had one of our classes was called organizational business, and part of our big project was to kind of organize like a volunteer event, basically. Mm-hmm. And so basically what we did is we collected items as well as money for Habitat for Humanity.
Nice.
In Windsor. So that was good. We were kind of stationed at a hardware store in Windsor, a local hardware store, kind of collecting donations, and people could, even like buy stuff right from the hardware store and donate it to us right there. So that's kind of that. And then here in London, there's an organization called, oh my God, what is it called?
Yeah, please tell me.
Oh, no.
I'm looking for it. Please tell me what it's called. Come on.
It's called Reforest London.
There it is.
Yeah, there you go.
And so they hand out trees to residents of London for you to plant in your home. And so we've grabbed a few trees there and planted those in our backyard so we can reforest London.
Trees, please. So yeah, I've kind of talked about some of the volunteer stuff that I've ever done, so I won't kind of belabor that point, but always looking for opportunities to volunteer and put myself out there, whether it's local boards or organizations. Again, focus mainly on work right now and really trying to get that kind of secured before kind of putting myself out there. But I think we kind of all have the same kind of sense about, if we have kids or going to have kids eventually, that sitting on those school boards and really trying to make a difference and that's kind of really important to us. So
being involved is key, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So as previously kind of mentioned, for producer Pierce, vice president of the local athletic association, as well as minor baseball, and Brett, myself, we've kind of done the same sort of thing as well. And I love getting out there with the kids and teaching them everything I know, and really trying to be better ball players than myself, which wouldn't take much.
It's so true.
And then also Pierce, helps out with a local junior C hockey team and being the athletic trainer there. And then again, volunteering with Canadian Cancer Societies, and I don't know if you guys have done that as well. I have, in addition to Pierce as well, with Relay for Life and helping organize that. So, and then we like beer, but Pierce also likes a little bit of chili. So the Heart and Stroke Foundation does a chili cook-off as well. So a lot of volunteer hours, I think, between the four of us put out there, but it's
definitely more than the 40 that's required to get your high school diploma. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and you know what? It's never enough, right? There's always always more time that we need to do. So I guess that's basically that, right? So
Absolutely.
should we conclude this section and probably hit it up with our farewells? So
I think so.
Let's do it.
we'll be right back with our goodbyes. That's going to be it for today's episode.
Thank you for listening to our first episode of season 2. Keep on listening as we release a Craft Beer Connoisseurs episode every Thursday and on our off Thursdays for a producer special.
Make sure to tell your friends, family, and your favorite not-for-profit organization.
So from all of us and producer Piers, I'm Tyler.
I'm Brett.
And I'm Chris, and together we're the Craft Beer Connoisseurs.